When you buy a motorcycle, you do so for lots of reasons. One might be the styling of it that you like, the performance, the purpose that it was actually built for in the first place, or whatever it happens to be, how tall you are. For instance, my wife and I, we're not very tall, so we've tried large motorcycles in the past, and they're fine, they work out alright, but sometimes we like to go off-road and go into places that are difficult to get into, and often the tall bike could be a bit of a technical challenge sometimes. So it's a lot easier, both on yourselves and the trip that you're taking, if you have a bike that's more manageable. What we've done, we've settled for these VTR 250s. They're a V-twin Honda 250cc, but they punch out about 35 to 40 horsepower, so for a quarter litre bike, they punch well above their weight as far as performance goes. Now they're essentially a naked bike, pretty much design copied from the Ducati Monster style, but what I've done to them so that we can go off-road is do some modifications to them. We changed the tyres, put dual sport tyres, put splash or engine guard, Omni knobs, spotlights, we put luggage systems on them because we carry a lot of luggage for camping, all sorts of things, tubes for putting, wherever there's spare space, we put tubes on them for storing rain gear, electrical cords, tent poles, whatever you want to do. Hand guards like bark busters or whatever you want to call them in your country. Even other accessories like a throttle lock for when you're out on the highway. But essentially what we do is we change the stance, which is normally for a sports bike, you're normally down here somewhere. So with the use of bar risers and wider bars like Renthal or Pro Taper, we put wider bars to give you that better stability off-road, more leverage to combat dirt and rocks and ruts and all those sorts of things. And one of the other things I also changed is the foot pegs. Now for a road bike, you normally can't get foot pegs, or they're not advertised as being available for a road bike. But these foot pegs here are actually off a CB500, which is the same as a Honda NV700, etc. The fortunate thing with Honda is that their foot peg assemblies are identical across a broad range of motorcycles, including the Honda GROM. So the same foot pegs that fit this, that fit the CB500, the 700, and probably a whole variety of Hondas fit the Honda GROM as well. As I said earlier, that same setup that Honda has with the foot peg mounting is exactly the same. So these aftermarket foot pegs fitted straight on as it did with the other bike. You can even use the original spring. Everything goes back, the original pin, spring, everything goes back on. Now what I've done with mine is I got the ones with a 25mm, or it's about an inch offset. That offset, there's pins inside this shaft here. You can just move those pins around where you want it, and this offset can be adjusted so it can be anywhere in a 360 degree turn. So you can, if you want it up more, to be higher, or forward more, or lower more, wherever you want it to be. But for myself, my comfort position is just back an inch. So when I sit on my GROM, because of the way the seat's sort of positioned, I tended to be in its original spot a bit stooped over. What that did was create a bit of a pinch spot on my back, which was uncomfortable. But what I found was when I was riding, if I moved my foot back on the foot peg back to here, it sort of had a rolling effect in the back. So I thought, okay, I'll try the foot pegs that we've had fitted to the other bikes and see how it goes. So that's the position now, and what that does, that's heaps more comfortable, and I can ride all day and I don't get a pinch back. It's just made a complete world of difference. And even though because it's backwards, it's still pretty much in line with the gear shifter, which is not an issue for me. Now, different story with my wife. She's had her, I fitted the pegs to hers, but her preference is to have them down slightly lower, because she found that when she was sitting on the bike, she was too squat up, so it's dropped it 1 inch, and that's fine. The only problem is her foot now is not in line with the gear shifter, so she's either got to have her foot half sitting up, whatever, because she wears boots and the heel locks in here. So it's a solid shoe. So this gear shifter position is a bit of a problem. Now, I thought it'd be easy just to adjust the gear shifter as it is on most bikes, but on the GROM, the spline, which goes from this remote linkage back up into the gearbox, is quite coarse. So one adjustment, just one tooth of the gear shifter, brings it up here or down here, and that's too extreme. So we need to look at that and figure out some sort of way of making it a bit more to be able to adjust it with a bit more fine tuning. Okay, so what I found was these tie rod ends, hind joint, or whatever you want to call it. So these are an 8mm, so it's both 8mm in the shaft here, and 8mm hole through here, which we'll put a bolt through to go through into the gear linkage assembly. Now this is the other end of it, so that other one with the thread, and it threads into here, and as you screw them in and out, they'll move apart or close together, depends on how you want it. So after ordering off eBay, this is how they arrived. That's the first section with the eyelet and the threaded part, the other one with the threaded in part. So what that does is makes it adjustable, so you can, as you screw this in, it draws the distance between these two close together or further apart, depends on where you want to move the gear shifter. And what I'll do is with two 8mm stainless steel hex threads, because I like them, is put them through the eyelet, which will then go through the shifter linkage and the gearbox linkage, and I'll put them, lock them back through the back with stainless steel washers and these nylon locking nuts so they don't come loose. I'll probably put a lock nut in here as well, just to stop that any sort of movement and assembly. It's got, even if it's like that, there's still a slight amount of movement in the thread, so we'll put a nut on there to address that. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is take this boot off, which should just slide over the knuckle joint, whatever it is, revealing the split pins. There we go. So this shaft, this bit of bolt, this 8mm rod or whatever you want to call it, just goes through there with a washer and a split pin. So it's probably easier to get at if I come through this side. The easiest thing to get it. Okay, split it out, wash her off. Okay, that's that one out, and just push that back through. That's it, that's the shaft, the link shaft. Okay, so what I'll do now is take the two pieces and I'll put a nut all the way through there, and I'll lock it together later. Take my screws out, first bit and the second bit, put them out, thread those in together. Now I'll probably face it that way, just so that any dirt doesn't sort of want to get stuck into the thread. It's probably not going to make any difference because it'll be locked together once it's all assembled. Anyway, we'll test fit that, see where we're at. Alright, put that through there. Okay, so it's not quite 8mm in there. So what I'll need to do is just get a drill and just hone that out just slightly. They're nearly there. Probably 7.5 or 7.75mm. It's just not quite 8. So I'll drill those out to 8mm. Okay, now we've drilled those out. Put these screws. 8mm. Looks like I need to put that one in first. So get the arm down. Where are we at? That is way too low. Let's screw it all the way in. I'm going to say that's too low. Okay, so I've just been messing around. What I found that is I've actually got this home joint at its minimal distance. So all I need to do is take the original first link that comes out of the gearbox and move it around clockwise one section. So we'll do that. Okay. So you need to completely remove this bolt because it locks into the shaft when you try and slide the adjuster out. Now hold it parallel so we don't lose our spot. Just get that, wiggle it off the shaft. Now that's where we were, so we need to go clack one. Next one over. So just tap it on. We don't need to put that in yet, we'll just test it to fit. That one there. There. Now that's dropped. It's not a bad position. Very close. I'll just go one more though, because I can always bring it back down by extend this adjuster back out. So I'd rather get an area where we can adjust it from here rather than be right on the edge of this adjustment. So we'll take him off again and bring it, just rotate it clockwise, just the next bit there. Now normally if you were to have the original link in, I'll just take these rubber boots off the end. That gear stick will be right up there. Useless. Anyway, we've done that, so we'll put this back in. The front one on first, lift him up, put him there. Okay, so that's putting it back pretty much close to the position it was before. So what we can do now is take that out. Just remove that for a second, and undo that, and try a couple of adjustments to see where we're at. So that's brought that down to there. Now I reckon it's going to be pretty close, but I'll have to get the wife to come out and try it. Okay, so boss lady's come and gone, and what we've done, we've worked out that we've dropped this one back down one segment from where we were before, so anti-clockwise one, and brought this threaded section out a bit. So it's like adjusting. I can adjust the full. For each of the clicks that the standard factory one goes, I can adjust the full length in between each one of those. I can bring it down and sweep it, sweep it, sweep it. So, but anyway, this is where we reckon it's comfortable for her foot to fit in here when she's sitting on the bike. So we'll clean that up and do the nuts up, put the washers and lock nuts on the back of this, and that should just about be it. So it's a pretty simple sort of fix. Quite cheap. I think the two of these joints were about whatever they were on the screen. I think they were $11 or something delivered, plus a couple of stainless steel hex bolts, nylock nuts, washers. Yeah, so well under $30, and you've got yourself a fully adjustable shifter. And that not only works for the GROM, but virtually any bike that has this type of linkage assembly. These were common years ago, and they probably still are on some bikes, on trials bikes and similar scrambler bikes, or racing bikes as well, where fine tuning for the rider is crucial. So they have these joints in it. But this one here, quite a short run, and yeah, a cheap, easy fix. So anyway, thanks for watching, and click the subscribe button if you want to catch more handy hints. Catch us later.